Chizuk from the Parsha Erev Shabbos Kodesh, Parsha Tazri'a מצורע. The Chofetz Chaim, Zeicher Tzadik Levrucha, had a son-in-law. His name was Reb Tzvi Hirsch Levinson. He was a Gudel Beisul. Reb Tzvi Hirsch had a sister and a brother-in-law. They weren't religious, they weren't from. And they tragically got killed in some kind of a freak accident. And they left home one child that was 10 years old. This 10-year-old child that suddenly became a Yosem from the father and the mother. So Reb Tzvi Hirsch, the uncle, took in this boy, and the boy was devastated. He was crying day and night. He lost loving parents. And he was in a completely different house, in a frum religious house, and over there he had everything that he was used to it. And Reb Tzvi Hirsch tried to speak to him and comfort him. And he said, listen, I don't have patience to go to yeshiva, learn Torah. It's not for me, I'm not used to that. What can I do for you? He says, please hire for me a teacher that should teach me Russian. I had it also as well, and I want to continue it. And Reb Tzvi Hirsch did. And all the Kamuim from Radin came screaming at Reb Tzvi Hirsch. What are you doing? The Chofetz Chaim is so against it. The Chofetz Chaim gave it a kol koire. It was those time of the maskilim and the reforms, that this was the perfect connection, the learning Russian to become frei. And the Reb Tzvi Hirsch didn't listen. So they went to the Chofetz Chaim, and the Chofetz Chaim said, Reb Tzvi Hirsch knows what he is doing. It just shoved them off. A couple of years passed by, and this boy, this 10-year-old boy who is now already an adult, became one of the biggest generals in the Russian army. Years later, he came back to visit, and he told his stepmother's aunt that night that people came to scream at Reb Tzvi Hirsch into the Chofetz Chaim, and the Chofetz Chaim obviously told him, don't worry, Reb Tzvi Hirsch knows what he's doing. The Chofetz Chaim himself came to the house, and they were arguing about me learning Russian. And Reb Tzvi Hirsch told the Chofetz Chaim, his heilige Shver, you know, I also know what you know, and I also honor it, and of course I would not do anything for regular cases, but this is a very special case. The boy is sitting here crying day and night. He's a Yusuf from father and mother. And I'm looking at his situation, and it's a different situation. How can I minimize a little bit less tears for my Yusuf? And the Chofetz Chaim says, I knew that you ever das Torah and you know what you're doing. So the boy said, this general, who is now a general, this conversation between two giants, between two G'dolei Yisrael, how to minimize tears of an orphan of a Yusuf, is what kept me not to be Mechalel Shabbos in the Russian army, and what kept me not to marry a Goy for so many years. Obviously, Schissam Yugan. In this week's Parsha, we have the Parsha of Neguim. You could be the biggest Dayan, you could be the biggest doctor, you could be the biggest mumche, specialist that understands in Neguim. You cannot rule Tumah until the Kohen is coming. Veruya Kohen, Veruya Kohen is Anega. You cannot say Tumah. You know why? Because this Kohen, Ahoyev Shulam Veroyev Shulam, this Kohen that goes to the wife and says one thing, the good thing on the husband, which is not true. And then he goes to the husband and says the good thing on the wife, which is also not true. But just to make Shulam, to keep them in peace, is looking at the situation. Only this Kohen could say Tumah. Before he criticizes, before he isolates, it's not Veruah Kohen is a nega. It's not looking at the nega as Veru'u Iya Kohen. It's looking at this entire situation, on this entire person. And only such a person, before he rejects, he gives courage and he gives chizuk. Only such a person could isolate. Let's have a wonderful Shabbos. Ishes Raya Azori, Eluche V'yam Chazak, a Gitten Shabbos.